All right, Nduoko and CT Muga with you this morning. Ramayan has been our guest host all morning.
Oh, yes.
Good spirits up there, and we're getting into, thank you for being here with us and getting into a different kind of conversation today. And we say hello to our guest this morning, David Ogot. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Fantastic. Great to have you in the room today.
Thanks.
It's been a long time coming. It's our Healthy Friday conversation. As we get into it, CT goes around the continent every week. I know it's like Superman. And he brings back proverbs from African countries, and he's been in Ghana this whole week. So our proverb this morning.
You said Superman?
Yeah.
Iron Man.
Oh, sorry. Iron Man.
Apologies, Apologies, Mr. Stark.
Mr.
No one can prepare for the Harmattan by drinking plenty of water. Yes.
No one can prepare for the Harmattan by drinking plenty of water. So, David, you've come, but we give you work immediately. So, what does that mean to you? How does that resonate with you?
I would guess drinking that water for future thirst. You have to drink your water whenever you are thirsty. You can't stock up on future problems. You deal with them.
You can't stock up on quench.
Yes, so as to put it in an alcoholic way,
Yeah.
I'm sober a day at a time. Yes. I can't get all my sobriety for the next 4 months today.
You're sober now?
For today.
Yes.
So far, so good. Since I woke up,
I
haven't drunk.
That's very interesting that you say that. You can't stock up. And I think about the Harmattan, and I say, actually, you know what? It is dusty now. You get the dust when you're going from point A to point B. You wash off the dust, or you put on the shea butter or whatever to stop your skin from being so dry. But you cannot put and then say, I'm going to put enough for tomorrow.
For tomorrow.
You can't drink water and be hydrated for the whole Harmattan season.
Yes.
That's very interesting. You might have been onto something, Rama.
Well, we don't have enough cocoa butter and shea butter for today, tomorrow, the next day.
Yeah.
We're running deficits out here.
Oh gosh.
There's no fiscal consolidation. Some of these things.
Okay. So, getting into this Healthy Friday conversation, there are many things around this. Let's start off with this, David. You call yourself, and I guess you call yourself a recovering alcoholic. Why?
Because from my take, there's no recovered or ex-alcoholic. Because, for example, I'm a biker, motorbikes. There was a time I had an accident, broke my leg. So there's things I couldn't do. I couldn't run and etc. until my leg healed. And then I said, I've recovered. I can now go back to doing things I used to do before I broke my leg. So conversely, with alcoholism, if I'm a recovered or ex-alcoholic, means I can go back to drinking alcohol the way I used to do when I had control before I crossed into alcoholism. And that is not a possibility. So as I said earlier with the saying, I am sober a day at a time. When I wake up, like today I was in Nairobi before coming here, the prayer I learned in rehab, God help me just for today, not to drink. And when I'll sleep, wherever I'll be, which county, whatever, thank you for helping me not to drink. So at midnight, bam, you start again. It's a day at a time.
Okay.
Yes.
So how do you know, or how does one know, or what do we characterize when we say that one is an alcoholic or that you're in the state of alcoholism? Yeah, what is that?
Now, even that term, alcoholism, or drug addict, because alcohol is a mood-altering drug selectively capable of causing addiction. Because the one thing I've always said since I left rehab, alcohol doesn't cause alcoholism. Because if it caused it, then everybody who drank alcohol would end up alcoholic, which is not the case. So, bottom line is, I've tried to say there's as many definitions of alcoholism as there's types of alcohol. And if you put 10 of us on this show today and introduced us as experts, and asked that question, you'd probably get us giving 10 different answers, leaving the listener and viewer totally now confused, because you said these are 10 experts. So my take is that you reach a stage where you are unable, once you drink the alcohol, whether it's a glass, a teaspoon, or whatever, you ingest any amount of alcohol, you are now no longer in control. So the example I give in my book, which I've been trying to get published since 2009, but story of another time, is that if, take myself as a vehicle, I'm a vehicle. My registration number plate, my number plate is David Ogot. The steering is my brain. Right now I'm driving this vehicle. If I ingest any amount of alcohol, I am automatically in the passenger seat. The person driving this vehicle now is alcohol. So right now, if I say I'm going to have one beer, and I am actually in the driver's seat, and my intention is one beer, once I take any amount of that beer, I automatically move to the passenger seat, and now David B takes over the steering. So David B will say, you said one. One crate, we're in this bar 1 week, we're in this bar 1 month. What about work? What about home? That's your kids' fees, that's the house rent. David B tells David A, buckle up. Buddha, me, I don't go less than 120K per hour. If I were you, I'd put on my seatbelt. Now, everybody's wondering, I was with David. We left, he said he was going to have one beer. As per we checked, he's still in the bar a week ago. I'm not in control. That's what we mean by loss of control. And I will not have that control until that alcohol leaves my body. And with it, David B.
Okay. This is not something that happens one time.
Yes.
This situation comes about as a result of repetitive action over time, does it not? When you get to the point where David B takes control.
So,
it didn't just happen one day
yes,
when you're at a party.
It's a process.
What's that process?
It's a process. First, you have to be in a country or environment where alcohol is available and is socially accepted. So all the countries in the world are divided into wet or dry. Wet being alcohol is available, socially acceptable, dry, Saudi Arabia, etc. It's not. So first, your environment, so that you're able then to start. Then you have to drink long enough to trigger the disease you were born with. Now there again, people say it's not a disease. So what is it if it's not a disease? Now, and earlier, what you are talking about, even agencies now, like WHO, World Health Organization, said using words like alcoholism, drug addict, etc. are stigmatizing. We use other terms like substance use disorder, mental health issues. And don't forget, all this trying to explain what alcoholism is, we have passed through stages where even we were saying chemical dependency. Some people still say chemical dependency. Water is a chemical. We all depend on water. So automatically that explanation, terminal, is wrong. You see? And then at some point, WHO said it is a disease. They agreed. Now, again, I can only go through the process I came from. So first, you have to start, continue long enough to trigger the disease you are born with. Because in my terminology, genetic predisposition is one. So when I was born to my mom in London, do I say London, UK? But do I say?
No.
Those many years ago, there to my mother, the late Grace Ogot, may she rest in peace, was born, her firstborn, an alcoholic.
How?
Yeah, when the dog slapped my butt, and I cried to confirm I'm alive, the genes.
Okay.
Then you now need the environment. Then you now need to start and continue long enough to trigger. Because you know that experimenting age. I'm being told some of us were in some schools in the bush. Yeah? No names mentioned. No, I'm looking at them. We were together. That is where I started, in that school in the bush.
So you started experimenting?
Yes, because I couldn't talk to girls. But you see, some people will experiment with alcohol, whatever. They don't like the taste. And that's it. Okay? Some will, some rites of passage, so you are now told you are now a man, alcohol. So whichever way, there's that experiment. So continuing long enough to trigger. So as I said in the beginning, I would walk into a place, there's alcohol, and I don't feel like drinking.
Okay.
And it's there, and it's even free. And I don't feel like drinking.
And this is when you were much older?
No. This is when I started. I was 13 years old.
13.
In that school in the bush.
Okay.
And then now, I'm in control. If I say I'm having 2 beers, it's 2. If I say it's none, it's none. Even if it's there free at a wedding, whatever. But and you see, I was a late starter because of this thing of taste. I tried it. I didn't like the taste.
You were 13 years old, David.
Yes.
How were you a late starter to alcohol at 13?
Because some of my guys had started earlier. This was when I'm in Form 1, and I'm finding they're already drinking. So like when we go out, I'm with my Fanta or whatever soda, and them there with this, and they're asking me, what's that you are drinking? Go and sit at another table. This is not table for babies. And then the problem was, because I told them, and those days when I was 13, I was extremely, extremely handsome. Nowadays, I'm just handsome.
But those before days, it was extremely.
Extreme, okay. 3 times. You'd have to say it 3 times.
Okay.
And a very loud guy. I'm still loud. But when I try to talk to a girl, suddenly my brain goes blank. It's like somebody's switched off my brain. I'm stammering, I'm opening and closing my mouth like a fish. And so my buddies are telling me, because by that time I've told them, alcohol is for adults. And I don't want to get in problems with my parents. And smoking, you'll get cancer and die. I don't want to die. So, they're laughing and saying, okay. So now I'm asking, how come you guys, you're able to talk to girls? We go to school debate. After the debate, there's a dance. And these guys, me, I'm in the floater's corner. You see that girl, you want to go and ask for a dance. But then you go, and then the song is finished, and then you say the next one, and you go and chill at the wall. Then the next one. And the dance ends like that. So it was called floater's corner. So then it would go to all the girls' schools. They've got floater, You're out there like, one of these places where there's a bar downstairs and a cinema upstairs, and you're waiting to go for the 2:00 movie, and these guys are talking and the girls are laughing, and then when the girl looks at you, you're stuck.
You're gone.
So that's how they told me, if you want to solve that problem, smoke cigarettes, drink alcohol. And I started with cigarettes. That school in the bush had a very big golf course, amongst other spaces.
It was a big one.
He'll tell you, it was a big one.
Disclaimer, the 3 gentlemen in this room right now went to the same school. Okay.
Yes. So, I tried the cigarette, coughed like an idiot. And they're saying you're wasting, because like you're 1 cigarette, they're smoking like 10 guys. Puff, puff, pass. So then, after about 3-4 days, I'm able to inhale, exhale through my nose, and it's like the movies and, And then I stole my dad's booze and, tasted and spat. I said no. So now I'm smoking, drinking a soda. And I still can't talk.
Okay.
So finally, before going to Form 2, I stole my dad's booze and I drank and puked and whatever, because I was determined by the time I go to Form 2, I'll be able to drink and get a girlfriend, or the alcohol will kill me, one of the above. So by the time I got in, I could actually drink 2 beers. And this is what I'm saying, late starter. Because some of these guys now could drink 1 beer, tops. Okay? Now, me, I'm starting, by the time now I'm picking, and the first time now, we've gone out and I've drank my 2 beers, and the girl asked me, what about you? I was making the girls laugh, till even girls on the next table are coming to see who is this handsome, extremely handsome guy. And I told Jesus, thank you, problem solved. Because you see, at that age, it's a personal problem.
So, you made a connection.
Yes.
between the consumption of this alcohol
Yes.
and now the ability to talk to these young
Yes.
ladies,
Yes.
and for them to actually then accept that now you've moved from the floater's corner to wherever else. So you've made a direct connection
Yes.
between the ingestion of this alcohol,
Yes.
how it made you feel, and the courage that it gave to you.
Yes.
Okay. So you've come from a place where you initially did not even like the taste
Yes.
of it.
I forced myself.
Now you
Literally.
forced yourself, and you can see something that has come because of that.
Yes.
So you're saying, is what you're saying now, this out, because we'll get a little bit more details in terms of how your journey now went beyond that. But essentially what I'm getting from you is that it is now being seen, this alcoholism, as a coping mechanism or a crutch,
No,
and that it is used to then help you overcome certain insecurities or weaknesses.
You see, like that time, they're not even telling me it's like a crutch. It's like girls like bad boys, tough guys. And you see, that's what we were seeing in the movies, the novels you're reading. This was what was all around us. The hero in the movie always smoked, drank alcohol, had liquor, not even beer or wine or what, and drank it neat. You see? So if you want girls like tough guys drink alcohol and smoke cigarettes.
So
So
five plus
you're
five
not
is
even
10.
looking at it in that way of whatever. So you are seeing I'm lacking this drinking of alcohol and smoking of cigarettes. And as I said, at that age, problems are very personal. You know, you're going out, your shirt has to hang in a certain way, your trousers. If you have a pimple on your face, you're wondering, today is Friday, Saturday when I'm going out. Where was this pimple between Monday and Friday when I was not going out? You know, it's a crisis. Every little small thing. But at that time, I'm still in control of the drinking. As I said, if it's one, it's one. I know I have to be in class, I have to be in this, so I'm not drinking, etc. But now with the 2 beers, at a certain point, I'm drinking 2 beers and I feel nothing. So, so I drink 3. And go with 3 for a while. At a certain time, I'm at 5 beers. And now I am a late comer, but out of the tough guys, because now I'm in that group of tough guys, we all drink alcohol, we all smoke cigarettes, I am that toughest of the tough guys, because now I'm the one telling guys, no, you, I don't want to sit with you, because you drink 2 beers, you start misbehaving. Well, these are table of men. You know, you go and sit there with ladies, and I don't know why we always say ladies are not able to handle their booze. So what was actually happening is my tolerance was increasing. Tolerance simply means I need more of the alcohol to get the same effect. And that is one of the signs of alcoholism pending, coming. But to everybody around me, my group, this is the tough guy of the tough guys. Now I'm getting to a point where I want to drink during the term. And this is a boarding school. And where are you going to hide alcohol if I'm drinking 5 in one sitting, 6 in one sitting? Where are you going to hide enough alcohol? Now, some of the seniors, excluding one who is here, used to send us for changa. You know, across the fence there was a informal settlement. So sometimes us, we would go there to buy chapatis and what when you feel the food wasn't enough, or you just want something tastier. And they would send us, and we used to say, how are people drinking changa and we're in what you call that school at that time, depending on which girl you're talking to, or you're talking to a guy, you'd call it its name, or if you are talking to a girl, you'd call it its former name, which was Duke of York, and you're saying it with a British accent.
Duke of York.
How can you be in Duke of York exactly, and you're drinking changa, which is for failures and useless people,
I mean,
and people who sleep in the street, homeless. What's wrong with this prefix? You know? But at one point, we decided to taste. And the result was the same as we were getting with these other drinks we were drinking.
So maybe CT would want to ask if that is the point of no return.
Actually, and it was cheaper.
And much cheaper. And then you don't have to stock it. You just go across. We used to call it across. The fence, shortened to across. You just go and buy. Now, that school rules were, discipline was high. extremely high. So what happens if you are caught? So we started Adopt a Prefect. Forget all these people like Moshimwa Pasari started Adopt a Light. So Adopt a Prefect, you pick your prefect, you go and you've bought for him changa. It's sold in jik bottles, empty jik bottles, washed, and bleach, and you go and so you go and say half a jik, full jik, quarter jik, or so you go, you bought him the brand of cigarettes he smokes and a full jik. So he peeps out of his study in the corridor, for me, he thinks it's a trap. So he locks his door, he says, "Do you drink?" "Yes." Puts a glass, "Drink." So you pour the glass full.
And you're 14.
Neat. Yeah,
you're 14 years old.
14. Neat. And it's like you're drinking water. So the guy looks at you. "Do you smoke?" "Yes." There you are. You open, you light. You take a puff, another one, a fourth one. You haven't exhaled. A third of the cigarette. Then the prefect is laughing. He's put his glass. Now, you're drinking with the prefect, actually buying him booze, smoking with him. So you are a junior prefect, government within government, deep state kind of situation. So in the morning, I wake up late. I'm supposed to have woken up early, showered, brushed my shoes, everything. You're wearing shorts, gaiters, stockings up to just below your knees. You brush your shoes until you can see your face. You've made your bed using geometrical systems, even the angles. You can measure whatever is fold, your counterpane. You've gone to the dining room if you're on duty and what. Now, I've woken up late, blah, blah, blah. Shower, I can't shower proper. I can't find one gaiter myself. After breakfast, there's an inspection in the dorm. You stand next to your bed. And the prefect comes round inspecting. So half my stockings are dangling down. I haven't combed my hair and I have a huge afro that time. I haven't made my bed. I just threw that. So my friends are saying today he's going to get it. So when the prefect comes to me, they're waiting for the explosion. The guy asks me, "Is your head aching?"
He's the guy who you
the prefect, yes. "Is your head aching?" I say, "Yes." "No, today don't buy from that place. Get that. It seems that whatever is not good." And he moves to the government within government.
Our Healthy Friday conversation today is, are we seeing a situation whereby alcoholism should be named a disability or a disease? Our guest this hour is David Ogot, a recovering alcoholic, and we're going through that journey with him.
When one looks at the consumption of alcohol and the bad name that drunkards and alcoholics have given alcohol, two different categories of people. You want to ask yourself, yes, there's a time when David was a young man, two things really, alcohol and cannabis sativa, that's what people consumed. But we're in the 21st century. What are the dangers that you could argue are equivalent to the ones that you faced in your youth that are prevalent now? For people who are young, who are 13, 14 and going on, because that's the age people start. And that journey, we look at the end product when somebody is not in control, but we forget they started somewhere. What are young people confronted with now?
You note on the poster, it says, "Time to declare alcoholism a disability." People are still arguing whether it's a disease. Still. This is I think 24 years after I left rehab. This is year 24. So when I entered rehab on October 1, 2000, my peer, who was alcoholic, still wondering what he's suffering from, and I leave rehab on 4th February 2001. So now I have two birthdays. The day I left rehab, February 4th, which was 14 days before my actual birthday, which is on February 16th, which was a few days ago. This guy, I've left rehab, he's still drinking, he doesn't know what his problem is, and he gives birth to a kid when I left rehab on 4th Feb 2001. That kid now is 24 years old. The dad is probably still drinking as we try to define what alcoholism is. And that kid which was born that day I left rehab probably has a kid of his own who is probably going to end up, because it runs in families, and we're still debating what exactly is it. Is it a disease? Is it substance use disorder? Is it chemical dependency? Is it blah, blah, blah? So I would still say, in spite of all the stuff which is there, heroin and what etc., you still find people saying today, like I used to say in my time, and probably in Senior's time, and his time, that I don't do drugs. I only drink alcohol and smoke cigarettes. And you see people going to schools to give talks, and they're saying, students, today we've come to talk about tobacco, thing number 1, alcohol, thing number 2, and drugs, thing number 3. So when you are telling them, oh, you drink, that's a drug. No. Drugs are heroin, cocaine, weed, and bangi, and so on and so forth, marijuana. Then you say, okay, why are you refusing that alcohol is a drug? And they say, for example, Nakada people are here. And they said, we are talking about tobacco, alcohol, and drugs. And when they asked us, we said, we don't do drugs, which is alcohol and tobacco. They are not drugs. We don't do the heroin and etc. Even the term Nakada, campaign against alcohol and drugs.
Drugs, yes.
Alcohol
It's separate.
So that in itself shows, and we are the ones who helped setting up of Nakada in the first place. In fact, the name is in the 3rd generation, because now they added authority.
Could it come from, and I know Rama's going to have a question in a minute, but could it come from the fact that you talk about it being, genetic,
Yes,
but at some point you pick up the glass.
yes,
You make the decision to
Yes.
do that.
yes,
A headache doesn't ask your permission
yes,
to come.
yes,
Malaria, the mosquito doesn't ask you.
yes,
This disease we're talking about.
Yes.
The mosquito doesn't ask you, can I bite you today and infect you with malaria?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
It happens without your
yes,
participation,
yes,
except that you're there.
yes,
In this case, you thinking,
Yes.
make a decision
Yes.
to pick up the glass.
yes,
At some point,
Yes.
are you saying that even after having picked up that glass or bottle or whatever for some time and you
Yes.
realize that you've lost control, there's something there
yes,
that you have no control over when you are in the presence of alcohol, that you can't just say no? It may sound like a difficult question, but those are the questions that people are going to ask
Yes.
when you're saying, let's declare this thing a disease,
Yes.
whereby you can control it.
yes. Now, where is the control? My dad, who at one point was Chancellor of Moi University, writing African history for UNESCO, president, blah, 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 accolades like a book, just accolades. I'm the firstborn. My mom, Moshimia, used to drink sherry or wine. Her achievements known. The brother who follows me, an architect in the US, who was also in that same school in the bush. In fact, we were all in Tomboya House. The one who follows him, engineer in the US, now came to Nairobi, in Malawi, all over the place. He's in great demand. Drinks alcohol to date, including the other one. My sister, the last one, still in the US, treating people, therapy. So how comes me and numerous uncles and cousins, in fact, if you count people in our family who have died due to alcohol related, leave the other drugs, bangi and what, because they're also there, just alcohol. And this is why we say alcohol, because alcohol is available, it is legal, it is acceptable. So the number of people drink and youth starting alcohol, and they're saying, we won't do drugs. But he's saying the father drinks, the mother drinks, he's in a group of schools, and so on and so forth. Or, on the other end of the scale, my mother brews changa, that's how she pays my school fees. Okay? And from time to time gives me a cup. There's the kid who is being given alcohol to sleep so that the mother can do other things. And that's, they don't have TV and so on and so forth. So how comes it is me? So if you take all those relatives to date, they would fill Langata Cemetery and would need more space. Alcohol. not the other drugs. Now, how comes my father, my mother, and my 3 siblings who drink alcohol, and my sister, when we found her picking stubs of cigarettes we have thrown down, me and my brothers, we beat her almost to an inch of her life. Don't take cigarettes, why are you smoking? And she was imitating her older siblings. Okay? So, we learn as kids by doing. So I'm seeing my dad drinks, I'm seeing he's a successful guy, my mom. So why would I not stop? And this is what we're saying, the genetic bit. And this is why I'm saying it does not cause alcoholism. Because then my dad would be alcoholic, my mom would have been, and my siblings, and would have all been in the rehab with all my relatives. Would need our own personal rehabs. So, and this is why I say loss of control does not mean if I see alcohol now, I start shaking, I must drink. No. Loss of control means when I ingest alcohol, the steering, my brain, it's now David B. driving. I'm in the passenger seat, but outside here, everybody is seeing. That's why they ask me, David, why, why I also drink. Why do you have to drink like this? You don't go to work. You don't go to this.
So
can't you drink like me? I can't.
Why then should we consider the disaster it actually is?
Yeah.
And if we were,
yes,
what effect would that have? Because yes, the world over, I think if one looks at data, one looks at research that has been done, the damage that alcohol does is significantly higher than the other drugs that one may want to even point fingers at. They cause damage, definitely. But alcohol has been number one for a very, 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 very long time.
Yes. It is number one. And just look at the effects. If underage people and alcoholics and drunkards, you mentioned drunkards earlier. If you call me a drunkard, I'll be offended. I'm not a drunkard. And just to expound earlier what I said, you start, you continue long enough. So you cross from the so-called social drinking, which means you are drinking in a, I'll walk into a place, see you having a drink.
Yeah.
And ask you, do you drink? And I say yes. Since when? I've known you for 10 years, I've never seen you drink. Well, all those other, I didn't feel like a drink. But an alcoholic, you are going, let's say you are at Kencom bus stop, you are going to Ongatarongai, you'll see one alcoholic out of 1,000 people. There's one alcoholic at that bus stop, causing chaos, abusing ladies, trying to hold them inappropriately, doing all manner of nonsense. Okay? Then you reach Ongatarongai, your stage, you get off, there's one alcoholic in a group of 1,000 coming to town, doing the same chaos, and you go home saying, Kenya is full of alcoholics. Out of those 1,000 people at the bus stop, 900 had drunk. But you know, out of the 900, one was the alcoholic.
Because it was out of control.
Out of control. You had giving alcohol a bad name. Okay? Because in this campaign to help others, what is the biggest problem in helping an alcoholic? Stigma. Even that title, Recovering Alcoholic, my father for the first 4-5 years, he calls me, David, very good show. Why do you call yourself alcoholic? You've stopped drinking, you left rehab. No, you why don't you say you are director of this, founder of this, blah, 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 award-winning journalist? No. Because I come onto the show to remove my clothes. This is me when I was drinking. Okay? So you have to see my nakedness in its entirety. Or I go and be a potato farmer. But if you want to do this work, so that that person sitting at home with their child, spouse, whatever, says, this guy's story is worse than mine, and is now there, sober, talking sense. Why am I hiding my person? And he has said help is there. And he has explained in a way through my story. That's why our hashtag is our stories shall set us free. Because stigma is the biggest barrier to alcoholics and other drug addicts getting help. So, for the rest of my life, and that is why one day at a time, there's something called relapse. Relapse means I start drinking again. You relapse into your previous state of existence, which is drinking. Now, in that stage, you start drinking the social drinking. You are controlling. You can enter what is now called like hazardous drinking, where it's like drunkenness. But first, before you reach there, you go into the heavy drinking. Now, heavy drinking does not mean you're alcoholic. You'll find a guy walks into a bar after work, drinks a whole bottle, 750 ml of whiskey, for example. When he pours the last drop of whiskey into his glass, the waiter will bring his bill because he knows this guy is not going to add anymore, even if you offer him free. Tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, by Friday, this man has drunk 5 750 ml mzingas of alcohol. He is a heavy drinker because he tells you, I do not drink before 5. I do not drink during the weekends. But you are, so describing alcoholism, for example, by the amount somebody drinks.
Doesn't work.
It is no.
It is behavior.
It is because this guy simply, remember I talked about tolerance. He simply has high tolerance. Even everybody who drinks alcohol, if you ask a guy, how much do you drink? He tells you 2 beers. You ask somebody else, a glass of wine. Self-imposed limits. Did you go to eCitizen, put in your name, tribe, height, weight, and it tells you they forgot 2 beers? 3 beers, glass of wine. No. You try, you drink 1 beer, you add another one, you start feeling, no. Say you try again, you start feeling wobbly, you say, bus. So you know my limit is 1. My limit is...
Dave, can I ask you about
Yes.
because the beauty of this conversation is that we've got multiple generations on the table, and
Yes.
what we've seen, especially in the last decade, with Instagram, TikTok, etc., becoming a lot more prevalent. And one of the arguments that has always come up is the harms that come up from social media. We see, for example, with body dysmorphia among young girls. You know, you constantly get bombarded with these images of this is what a perfect body looks like,
Right.
and you're constantly trying to meet this unattainable goal. And I wonder, based on what you've seen trying to work with young people who have a problem with alcohol, to what extent is the content they see or the norms they see on social media a problem in forming that habit?
Yeah, you see, again, media has just expanded. You see, I said in my time, when I was able to exhale through my nose, I looked like the heroes.
Yeah, because the example you gave was
Yes,
the movies, the guys who saw in movies
yes.
and soap operas,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
TV dramas.
Yes, everything you, whether it's a novel you're reading or a movie you're watching or on telly. Now, the media has come closer in terms of accessibility. So now for the young people, even if he doesn't have or she doesn't have, a friend has. Or the cyber cafe, or where it's accessible for a few shillings, you can get access. And again, the role modeling which is done there is not real. But we don't know it's not real, just like my time. Nothing has changed. Monkey see, monkey do. So we were talking about sayings. There's one.
Do you think it's as much a threat
Yes.
or maybe worse
Yes.
today
Yes.
as it was, 30 years ago, whereby there have been several calls that we've seen over the last, even if you're just going to take the last 5 years. So I'm not going to say it's getting younger because, for goodness sake, you were drinking at 13, 14, and you were drinking heavily. And do you think it's more prevalent? And if so, from your experience, what do you think ought to be done aside from then saying it's a disease or disability?
Now, here's the thing. If I entered a bar those days, the nearest adult to that door would box my ears.
Very fast.
And who are you looking for? Oh, my uncle.
Why are you here?
Why are you here? My uncle. No, who is your uncle? That one. Okay, wait outside. And then
coming,
later, even the uncle would be there. Why do you tell young children to come here to see our nakedness? These are not things young people should see. Now, today, young people enter a bar during the day with wearing full uniform and are served alcohol. And nobody seems to mind. Because when you are boxing my ear, wherever I was, somebody else was boxing. I was probably boxing your kids' ear, wherever I was. And that way there was some... Now, and you're talking about online. You see, I can order. Now, online, deliveries, whatever I want, 24 hours a day. alcohol and literally any other thing I want.
Delivered right to
Yes.
the doorstep.
And you see, like now, people who died recently in Kirinyaga.
Yeah.
This thing is periodical. And why I'm saying we need to stop stigmatizing not only alcoholics, but we need to stop stigmatizing alcohol. Because to help, we need every adult, whether you own a bar, whether you are a manufacturer of alcoholic drinks, whether you are a pastor, imam, or what, as long as you are an adult, it is our collective duty to make sure underage people don't drink. As I started saying earlier, if underage people, alcoholics and drunkards, and why I was saying don't call me a drunkard, because in that progression, you reach from heavy drinking into drunkenness. Drunkenness is a fellow who just drinks, if I may use that Kiswahili slang, fwa. He drinks stupidly.
Okay.
Okay? Is it Kijaluo? Okay, I'm not sure. Okay. And a drunkard will roll his car. Roll his car. Come out, sit on the pavement in his very expensive suit and say, if this is what 10 beers does, from today I'm drinking 5, 3 or none. Instant decision from a bad occurrence as a result of that drink. He has control. Then they sing for you that song which that group sang, many tuendele ama tusiendele. And you are there saying, yeah, I'm top dog. Huh? And you say tunaendele. You are then deported into the country of uncontrolled drinking, loss of control. And that you cannot come back. So another example I give, and they're always of vehicles, I don't know why, is an alcoholic. The alcoholism now is a 40-foot fully loaded trailer with AI. And it had AI from my time, long before AI came. By AI, I mean, right now, anytime you get off, you've gone to sleep, you've blacked out, the trailer automatically goes and parks at the trailer park on top of a hill, 90-degree slope. So every time you enter your trailer, in other words, you start drinking, the trailer takes off down a 90-degree slope, fully loaded, 40-foot with no brakes. And brakes which can never come back. My 40-foot is parked up there since February 4th, 2001.
Not had a drink since then?
Huh?
Have you not had a drink since then?
Okay, I had a couple of relapses, but just for the sake of illustration. Okay? So if something comes in, and relapse is also a process, something can happen now, and I pick up a drink 2 months, 2 weeks, 2 years from now. Then you are looking, what happened today that is picked a drink? No, look, something happened before, and then the process
David,
now started.
What constitutes a relapse?
A relapse.
Just
you
drinking once or going on a binge?
No, that's called a slip.
Yes.
And also, like I had the longest one, which lasted, was 4 months. And I actually, even the first one, when I went to the Changa dens, you know, I left rehab like Jesus, that I was going to save the world.
Okay.
Yes.
And save everybody else.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So you went back to...
So to the dens, telling them, was yeah? You know what? I found the solution. You know why we were drinking like this? Yeah, I was in rehab, blah, blah, blah. And they're listening, and I'm saying, Mama, give them a jig. Me, bring for me Stony. Note, that bottle is brown. Half liter. So subconsciously, it's like a beer bottle. I'm drinking that. I'm not smoking. And at the end of the day, I go home and I'm thinking I'm making progress. Because they were saying, tell me more, Oh, Mama, give them. So I'm buying.
Yeah.
An alcoholic will agree to anything as long as you are buying. So at one point, I think day 4 or 5, I walk in and they laugh. They were throwing back my stories at me, but I didn't know. Oh, this one is not drinking because his wife said he'll leave. They laugh. Oh, no. He was taken to a witch doctor, which is true. So if he drinks, he'll die. No, they laugh. So I said, oh, Mama, bring me a jig. Poured, I drank. Poured, I said, I've not exploded. I'm going to go home. Even if you want me to come with my wife tomorrow, I'll come with her, you see. Then I got home, and I'm thinking and I used to get home before my wife leaves job. So I get home, and I'm thinking to myself, I was told once you drink, the drink's in charge, you blah, 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 no breaks, what? I've drunk, I've come home.
I'm fine.
So
Like
next day
everything
when I went, I said, okay, let me drink, but since I won't drink a lot. And then slowly, that's how I got back to, Now, the longest one lasted about 4 months.
Yeah.
Now, that could still be constituted as a slip because I was going in and I'm going back. But then towards the end of it, and you see, I would even go and ask for flat beers. I would drink for days before going home. Same underpants, same whatever. So even I'm going to a bar and asking the waiter to give me a handkerchief so that I can pour, the broken beers, so the handkerchief sieves in case there's broken glass. And this beer is already flat. Till the barman is looking at you and saying, no, let me buy you a beer.
If it's that bad.
Yeah?
David, I mean,
yes.
look, because I think that the experience helps us understand a lot of the processes a lot better. But and I know we're coming to the head on this conversation. But what needs to happen today, whether we're talking about those involved, you talked about adults, those who are policy making, those who are in the health sector, what needs to happen for us to start to get some mileage on reining in this?
Okay. Why did I start what I'm doing today, which is fighting for rights of addicts, alcoholics, because when I was taken to every kind of help, psychiatrist, prayer, free prayer where my dad pays the person to come and pray for me in the house, finally a witch doctor. Finally, and he would call a clan meeting to ask what can we try, which we haven't tried. So after the witch doctor failed 3 attempts, 2 in upcountry, 1 he came to Nairobi. My dad called the clan meeting where he said he's the one talking. Nobody's going to talk. And he said he's only going to do a prayer. And after the prayer, people leave at your leisure. And he said, God, we know you see everything. And you have seen how we have tried to help our firstborn son, David. Now, God, I'm reminding you, he is also your son. Call him so that he can rest, so that we can also rest. Amen. You may leave at your. Told my mother, my wife, everybody, don't go crying at night. Where's David? Is he arrested? No, go and sleep. God is a God of answering prayers. Let us wait for him to call David to rest, so that we may also rest. 1 year later, approx, I got to a rehab. 200 shillings a day.
Yeah.
Pit latrine. In 14 days, I knew my problem. So I got so annoyed looking at my whole route, India, 4 years, never stepped in a college, crazy things I've done. I said, I'm going to use my media background to tell people you are being cheated. The problem is not this, it's this.
I think it's important that we continue with these conversations. Unfortunately, the luxury of time sometimes an issue for us. But David, understanding this experience, I think we have insights into how we can continue the conversation. Thank you for being here this morning. Looking forward to having another chance to do this.
Yeah.
Rama, thank you so much for guest hosting with us today. It's always a pleasure to have you in the room.
It's always fun. Thank you for having me.
Until we do it again. Indeed. Thanks for being part of Kenya's biggest conversation this week.
This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.